Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, back to the boxing shop. We're open for business Monday night. You already know what it is. What's going on, Ray?
Hey man, Monday night, Canelo fight week. So yeah, let's go.
Canelo fight week, and can't say it feels like it, but it doesn't feel like a fight week, but it is just Monday. So, and I owe Ray some drinks. So here's the first one of the night, and we're going to kick it off. And, by the end of this show, who knows how I'll be feeling. So we're going to kick it off with a breakdown of last weekend. Well, I'll get into my breakdown. I wasn't able to catch any of the fights. So, Ray, you're going to have to be the news guy tonight since Dakota's not here. And hey, shout out Jack. The boxing world a better place when the shop is back open. And yes, it is. I agree, man. And the boxing shop is the number one podcast on the ITR platform, the A show. But Ray, go ahead and take us through the weekend, man. I know there was some exciting action going on. Before you get to the bare knuckle coverage, tell us about the Thomas Delorme Virgil Ortiz card.
Oh yeah, man, that was actually a good card, entertaining, right? Like I don't think they were great matchups, but going into that, you could expect that, right? You knew what it was about. Starting with I'll start with the Jojo Diaz Duarte fight. All action, and Duarte looked good, bro. Got the stoppage. We have seen Jojo kind of ease into that journeyman role.
Yeah.
But to get him out of there, I think that says something. It was Duarte's first fight with Robert Garcia, and after seeing what Ryan Garcia did with Haney, the way Ryan Garcia was with Duarte, that was a close fight. I think Duarte might be a player in this, like at that weight, not someone that you could look over. So he kind of, I felt, has some momentum going, got Jojo Diaz out of there. I don't know if it was a good stoppage, but the towel did come in after, which I never really understand, bro. Like the ref stops it and then you see the towel fly in. Like what's that about? What do you think?
I feel like maybe they're all in sync at the same time.
You think it's just, yeah, maybe.
Probably. And I mean, that's surprising because honestly, I didn't even know Jojo had gotten stopped. It's been a busy weekend, really swamped. But I know he was with Flamin' Hot, and I wanted to see
Hot, bro.
I wanted to see how Flamin' Hot performed on the big stage. But I mean,
Flamin' Hot got some screen time. It was crazy because I was watching that fight, but man, I think I was watching that one on a phone, so I didn't have any sound, right? I was just watching it, and it's kind of like when I watch it, I'm like, man, Jojo Diaz is doing all right. So he looked all right. He didn't look washed, to me at least. I like to see what other people that actually saw the fight thought. I see him there already. Jojo's got to retire, maybe, but he didn't look like he was washed to me. But he's never really had the power, and when he's in there with a power puncher, yeah, they're gonna be willing to exchange shots with him, and that's not gonna fare well for Jojo. Because he guys are gonna outpower him, and I think that's what happened. Duarte finally broke him down, and gave the ref a reason to stop the fight and a reason for Flamin' Hot to throw that towel in. So I don't know, man. I think Duarte becomes kind of mid-level player, and I think Jojo he's gonna be a good gatekeeper, bro. Because I think he does have something left, and he probably still is gonna get fights.
Interesting. I know. I mean, there's a lot of controversy with Jojo Diaz, obviously, with everything else he's got going on outside of the ring too. So a lot of people are happy to see him, taking these L's, but curious to see what he can do in that division, gatekeeping wise, as you said. I mean, that's a decent division to be in as far as a gatekeeper, and
it's a tough division, tough weights to be at when you don't have power.
Yeah,
right. Like these guys, man, they all have. Even we didn't mention him last week, but Duarte, bro, he could pop. If you get in a firefight with these guys, like you gotta have something to keep them honest, at least, And we saw how that kind of turned out for Devin Haney. I felt that was kind of his big downfall. And then JoJo Diaz too, man, because they land shots. They just guys are willing to walk through it. So that's tough.
Yeah, and that's unfortunately for JoJo. I never thought he had real elite skills, but he did have some pop, and he was able to get into some slugfest. And if you're getting into slugfest, you don't really have that kind of pop like that.
Yeah.
And you're on the downside of your career. I mean, he might test some good prospects, but we'll see where it goes. I'm gonna have to watch that fight and see.
Yeah, well, like I said, I thought it was good. I didn't have the sound on. I don't know I have no idea what they were even scoring it as, but I thought JoJo was being competitive. Like it looked every time I was watching, it looked like it.
Yeah,
so
Bean in the comments here
right?
said JoJo held his own too. So sounds like it's definitely a watchable fight for sure. It sounds like he didn't get blown out, but
yeah. And I mean, you figure JoJo was JoJo's a kind of a tough case, right? Because we were talking about this guys who never really lived up to their potential. And JoJo had that Olympic pedigree, and I felt like he was always there, like gonna be a star, but never really capitalized on it. But he still has a name, like he's still very recognizable. But yeah, man, it's just kind of becoming a world champion, and being a world champion is not easy. I know a lot of people kind of hate on boxing and say, "Oh, everybody's a world champion." Nah, not really, man. It's tough. So yeah, JoJo Diaz, I think he's still gonna be able to get fights, but man, I think the world championships and that's probably not gonna happen.
And then also on the card, Marlon Esparza took a L, and looks like it was a decision for all three championships there, the vacant championships as well in that division, WBA, WBC, and WBO. Well, she missed weight, so they became vacant. Jose Ramirez picked up a 12-round decision. Again, I didn't watch the fights.
Yeah, so
break it down for me, but it looks like it was a wide decision. But from what I saw, it didn't sound like it. What is your take on that one?
My take on that one was Jose Ramirez could not avoid a left hand, even if he wanted to. Like, Barthélemy, Kid Blast, whatever. I mean, he's kind of past his best, right? And it seemed like every time he landed a straight left, Ramirez was kind of shaky, visibly, like, right? I don't know if he was really hurt or not, but that left hand would stop him in his tracks and kind of buckle him every time. But I think the fight played out probably how whoever set the fight up imagined. Like Jose was just threw a lot of punches and able to win fairly easy. But man, that's another one, bro. Ramirez can't punch. So when we're talking about, no, I'm not like hating on him, but like when we're talking about at 140, bro, if you want to just stand in front of guys, that's not gonna work. It might work against Barthélemy, who almost looked at times was gonna get you out of there, but that's not gonna work against the top guys. So like Jose Ramirez, props to him, man. Showed a lot of heart, I think, in his hometown. There he goes right there, showed heart. I would say that, like, it was kind of, I got the feeling like he was, I'm not going to go out like that in front of these people. Like, these people have provided so much to me and gave me so much. He wasn't going to get stopped that night, and he showed it. And it's, props to him. But he better keep booking fights in Fresno against lower level opponents, because like for real, like if he tries to go up against like a Matias or someone like that, nah, bro, that's not happening. So yeah, shout out to Jose Ramirez. He did win wide. I don't think there was any controversy, but he was getting hit hard, and if you're a top level fighter, that probably shouldn't be getting hurt and look like you're about to get stopped against Francis Barthélemy in 2024.
Yeah, without a doubt. Now the main event, first round knockout.
No, that was the main event, bro.
Well, that was the main event. I'm sorry, co-main event.
The fight that matters, the fight that we cared about, the fight that has kind of future
implications.
Yeah.
important implications because Virgil Ortiz and Tim Tszyu was on the line for this one. If Virgil Ortiz didn't walk away with the win, and boy oh boy did he walk away. Go ahead and take us through that one.
Yeah, well, I mean, hey, like you said, we don't see this too often. The fight was announced, right? like the Tim Tszyu Virgil Ortiz was already announced. Everybody's excited for it, and then you're like, well, hold on, Virgil. Actually, I don't think anybody said hold on. We knew what was going to happen. But Virgil Ortiz had a fight against Thomas Delorme, right? Like, I went back and I was like, man, what did I say about that fight? And I said, if that fight goes more than 3.5 rounds, Virgil, come on, that's not it. Hey, Virgil was Virgil, the talented, hard hitting puncher that we know, and ended it in 1 round. Like, and that's what he should have did. I'm not overly impressed by it. I'm like, yeah, that's what you do, right? Hey, let's bring that quote back up. Erickson Lubin, what do you do, Felix?
Treat a bum like a bum.
You treat a bum like a bum, and at this weight, in this year, Thomas Delorme is a bum. If you're not getting him out of there like that, then you're probably not that guy. So Virgil Ortiz, he did his thing, and he sets up the big fight against Tim Tszyu. But, bro, I was mad. I took the under. I told you guys, like, yo, that's the lock of the year. I think they gave it 5.5.
Yeah.
The over under was 5.5. I said that's the lock of the year. Throw everything on it. I threw my whole balance on it. Bro, I look at it, I go to see, and they say action not honored or no action. Apparently, I didn't even know they changed it from a 12-round fight to a 10-round fight, and that canceled all bets. So I was pretty hot about that. It is what it is.
Wow. If I would have known, I definitely would have dropped some money on that. I was down in Phoenix covering a local card, and I'll just run through the results really quickly. For some of you guys that are subscribed to this channel, loyal followers and listeners or watchers, and anybody from the local area, it was a great show again. Shout out to Roberto Vargas and Iron Boy Promotions. They put on a good card. Trini Ochoa picked up a tough decision, 8-round decision. It was a good little action-packed fight. Again, he was on here with the pre-fight press conference. Nicholas Johnson picked up a 5th-round knockout over Cameron Graham, and you'll see the video. I'll be uploading it at some point this week. Cameron Graham, that was a big dude, 280 pounds, and even when they were announcing their weight in the ring, he's playing to the crowd. He's patting his stomach. He knew what everybody was looking at. Shout out Nick Johnson as well. And then Joseph Rivas, friend of the program as well. He's been on here a few times. I'm sure he'll be on here again in the future, along with Trini and Nick as well. Joseph Rivas picked up another good fight. And, I'll be uploading video again, but that was shout out Joseph. He's trying. Everybody who's watched him fight knows he's a brawler. He likes to get in there and bang and fight. But he had to stay composed. He's really working on trying to stay composed as a boxer and not getting these brawls. And he really showed, what he's working on and learning this fight here. And again, the most exciting one of the night, Elias Terraza and Jesus Ibarra. They went to war for a round, man. They went to a war. That was just a 1-round action-packed fight of the night still. And Elias walked away with a first-round stoppage over Ibarra. Both guys, had their moments of success. That was a great fight, man. Anybody who was there, I think the crowd was on their feet for the entire round. It was action packed the entire time. So again, good night at the Celebrity Theater of Phoenix, and then we got another card coming out June 8th, Del Sol Promotions, and that was going to be another banger too. I'm sure of it.
Yeah, man. There's really it's a hotbed right there in your area. And,
oh yeah.
As a boxing fan, I got to tell you, like, thanks, bro, because, right there, a good promoters putting on fights, putting on good fights, and there's storylines that, we don't even know about, right? And you follow a lot of these guys, shout out Rivas. He's been here with us. But, and you're covering all that and kind of letting us aware of something that, I would have no idea that's happening. And, your footage from this week, the backstage, the all access, basically, of, literally all access. I seen you in locker rooms. I seen you, ringside talking to these guys, and yeah, man, it really brings it to the forefront, man. I want to thank you for that.
Oh yeah, definitely, for sure. And that's the point, man. And another big storyline with that fight, Terraza and Ibarra. Again, there's two main promoters here in Arizona, and they're both rival promotional companies. And the fact that fight came together, seeing both promoters in the ring, shaking hands and all that, I mean, that's huge. It might be club level boxing, but that's still huge. That's basically that's top rank and Golden Boy. You know what I mean?
And give those records out. We're not talking like club level fighters. These are fighters that may break onto the national scene.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and I mean Ibarra going into that fight, he was 16-2. Elias was 8-0. He's now 9-0. Ibarra takes another loss there. But again, I mean, these guys they're up there. And Trini Ochoa, he's the 140-pound WBC Intercontinental Champion. And that's a division stacked. Everybody knows the 140-pound division, and Trini Ochoa is going to be he's going to be a problem there. There's a lot of good fighters here, man.
I mean, like we just talked about 140, and I talked about, and this is no shot at Trini Ochoa, but where he's like unknown, and we got Jose Ramirez, and Jose Ramirez is obviously going to want to fight in Fresno, right? And I feel like he has the A side; he could sell that out against anybody. So maybe he doesn't pull Ryan Garcia, Devin Haney, and that, but who's to say he won't fight someone with a good record, whatever, an Ochoa? Like, why not? And I'm sure that's a fight Ochoa would take. But I'm just saying, like, these guys, they're gonna get the calls. They're gonna get those calls, and you might see them on a major platform, and they'll have the opportunity to do their thing, and you're covering them from the start, which is really good for us as a fan.
Oh yeah, definitely, without a doubt. And then I wasn't there personally to cover this one too, but another good local card, and I want to say this is a historic card for Philadelphia. Again, local boxing at its finest here. Andrew Tabiti, Joey DeJeco, I can't pronounce his last name correctly, Jesse Hart, Hank Lundy, Moosin Kaysen. We've had him interviewed on here. A lot of guys on here, Philadelphia staples. And, shout out to Hank Lundy. He picked up a split decision victory over the weekend, too. Hopefully he rides off into the sunset now after this. I think a lot of people want to see that. But, I mean, what better way for him to end his career with a win in his hometown? Andrew Tabiti picked up a amazing highlight reel first-round knockout over Junior Wright. And Moosin Kaysen also picked up a second-round TKO. So, I mean, Philadelphia's winning. That was a good card. Anybody who's out there in the Philly area, club boxing, as they all say in Catch and Counter, support your local boxing. The club level boxing is, that's where a lot of the action is. And a lot of these guys you are going to see on the come up. So, pay attention to those cards too. These are the guys that really need the support. Ryan Garcia, Devin Haney, Jake Paul, Mike Tyson, they don't need our support in that sense. Pay attention to the guys that do. Show them some love. But those are the two cards I wanted to shout out: the local card out here, and again the Philadelphia card.
Hey man, and I got one too. BKFC Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship. They had their Knuckle Mania, and we were following especially closely because they had former world champion Alfredo Angulo on there.
Yeah,
you want to see how your guys, even though Alfredo, in the boxing world, he wouldn't be that guy anymore. But you want to see how it translates. And man, I think in his BKFC debut, he probably gave them one of their classic fights. It was about 90 seconds, if that, first round. He was at one point catching the beats. BKFC, they allow they kind of help the grappler, so they allow like the holding behind the head, even though his opponent Riggs was, I think he was just pulling his hair. Angulo has the long hair. He was pulling his hair and just lighting, Angulo up. But man, the commentator said that they called it the biggest comeback in BKFC history. Angulo was catching the beats. was able to kind of land a couple body shots, kind of get him in the right position, and landed a one-punch knockout. So shout out to Angulo. They were in LA. The crowd goes crazy for him there. I don't know. I don't know if he wants to continue to do that. It was probably a wake-up call where some guy just was pulling on your hair and punching you. But, we know Angulo, right? And if anything, Angulo has power. He might not be the quickest. He might not be technical, but, he landed a right hand on the chin and, won by knockout. So that was cool.
And that kind of fight, that kind of style is right up his alley, too. I mean, I think the bare knuckle stuff, it's great for a lot of fighters that.
I hope they're getting paid good.
Same.
Right, like we heard. Actually, it was announced Conor McGregor is now, I guess, a part owner in it. So I think this sport, if you want to call it a different sport, has the ability to grow. And they have kind of brought in big names. Austin Trout is one of their champions. I'm like, man, let's see Austin Trout, Alfredo Angulo, bare knuckle. Like, that's a good fight to me.
Oh yeah.
Just hope they're getting paid. What they're worth, right? Because to kind of see Angulo in there, it's like, bro, what is going on? And then when he was getting beat up, I was like, no, this is all bad. Like, what's going on? But he landed his punch, and that was it.
And that, and that's the thing about BKFC too. And I think they got the OnlyFans partnership as well too. So I know there's definitely some money involved in that organization. But guys like Angulo, they're not going to be competitive in boxing. Let's be real. They're not at this point in their career. They're not. Austin Trout, no, but they're thriving down there, and I absolutely love it because it's giving them a second chance to continue their career on a good note.
And that's a different sport, bro. Like you could see guys, even watching this Knucklemania, some guys, and I honestly, even with Angulo, like when they get hit with the bare knuckles, you can see guys kind of think like, nah, this ain't for me. Like you can see guys kind of like, oh, there was a couple kind of questionable injuries on this card. Like I think they just didn't want to fight. And even this Angulo fight, Angulo was kind of covering up where I was like, man, don't stop the fight. Don't stop the fight. But I'm sure it was all, a learning experience for him. But it's not something that everyone can do. And I think we've learned, like, not all boxers just step in there and are dominant either.
Right.
So it's pretty cool, man. I like it. I do think this bare knuckle boxing, I think it's one of the best sports to bet on. Bro, they're 2-minute rounds, like 5 rounds max. I think 5 rounds the championship maybe every fight's 5 rounds. I don't know. 2-minute rounds, everybody's pretty much equal, right? Like you might have a top MMA guy, a top boxer, and these bare knuckles with cuts. So it's really easy to bet on, right? Like, hey, give me that guy, give me that guy. There's no really huge with the odds, there's no really like huge gaps. So it's a really fun sport to bet on. And yeah, it was a good show. I think the main event was Mike Perry and Alves. Mike Perry won, within a minute, first round. But like I said, these fights end quick, a lot of action. And, going into it, you know what you're getting, which I enjoy.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, I'm loving the fact that these pro fighters are coming over. I know we got Guillermo Rigondeaux for an upcoming card. I don't know what card it's going to be. Jack had threw it out to us. I'd have to go back in the chat. Do you know which one off the top of your head, which card he's scheduled to be on?
I don't know. Is it BKFC though?
It might not be BKFC.
Yeah. And I know there's been kind of few bare knuckle organizations. I do think BKFC is kind of, they have the momentum to separate themselves from these others, and they're getting the names. We've seen that's where we saw Paulie Malignaggi, and we saw we have Alfredo Angulo, we have Austin Trout, who's a current, I believe he's their middleweight world champion.
Yep.
But like I said, it's not all like if you're a boxer, you're not gonna necessarily come over and be successful. Like Paulie lost, you know,
Exactly.
because
Well, I
they
mean,
do.
is that really surprising though?
Eh,
Is
I
that really
mean,
surprising?
yeah, I get you, but like that being able to kind of hold behind the neck
Yeah.
adds kind of something. It gives something to the grapplers where they can evens it up. Like you're not gonna come in and just straight box somebody, which Paulie found out, you know.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly.
but if you got the power like Alfredo Angulo, shoot, in a street fight you could knock anybody out, and that's basically what happened. He was catching the beats, landed one punch, fight over.
Yeah, I'm looking at some of their upcoming cards. I don't see any top fighters on any of the other ones. I know at one point, Randall Bailey, a good friend of mine, one of the hardest punches in boxing history. He was going to be a part of the bare knuckle championship. Had some stuff going on and wasn't able to get in there, and he just said, "Forget it. I'm not gonna bother anymore." But can you imagine the damage he would have done against somebody in a
Right.
bare knuckle contest?
Yeah, it's interesting, and like I said, I would like to hear Angulo's thoughts afterwards.
Oh
Bro,
yeah,
for 90 seconds. Well, let's see, 90 seconds for 80 seconds, bro.
and I did
He
see a
was getting.
quote from him. He's calling his opponent a hair pulling bitch. So I don't think he
Hey,
liked it.
I don't think that's legal. Like, I know you can hold kind of behind the head, but this dude Angulo went in with his hair braided down. His after the fight, the hair was all out. So I don't think hair pulling is legal, but whatever, it happened, and hey, Angulo still landed his punch. So hopefully we see him back. It's cool.
Now, with all that being said, just a random not even a dream fight scenario, but a dream fighter scenario. What fighter do you think that might be on the tail end of his career? Like, let's say Jojo Diaz level type of fighter, right?
Mm.
Who do you think right now, or even somebody who's maybe retired, but still has something left in the tank? Who do you think, or who would you want as a fan to see over there in BKFC?
I mean, it'd be hard to say active fighters. I think the one that missed our calling, I probably said this before, was Ricardo Mayorga. I
Oh
think
man,
I think
yeah,
that sport was made for him. Uh, you know, he talks and legend whatever of his machete fights, and I've seen Mayorga have actual MMA fights. Like that dude just is a fighter.
right.
I think if it would have happened, or if this was like in his era, bro, imagine Ricardo Mayorga in there. I mean, we're seeing Angulo in there, so another one that brings me to, man, imagine James Kirkland in a
Yes.
bare knuckle type fight. Current active, I'm not sure. I'd have to think. It's kind of hard for me to separate them right now to there, but Angulo Angulo's one that I'm glad is there. But yeah, Mayorga, probably Kirkland. Those are two that come to mind off the top.
I wouldn't mind seeing somebody like Curtis Stevens in there.
Oh yeah.
Also has some pop, is willing to bang it out. Antonio Margarito would be a fun one. There's some guys, man. Definitely.
Oh shoot. Let's throw in Chino Maidana,
Oh, bro, yes.
right? Like,
What's the other Argentinian that was up there? The guy that he was a boogeyman for a while, so Danny gave him a boxing lesson.
oh, Matisse.
Yes, Lucas Matisse. That would be fun. He'd be in there too, man.
Yeah,
There's
man. I'd like to see those guys in boxing. Those kind of just hard hitters, and yeah, like let's see what they would do. I would think the fear factor alone might have them winning against some of those guys, but it would be interesting because, like I said, it's a different sport. It doesn't necessarily mean that you're gonna go over there just because you box. That grappling and it evens it up, so it makes it pretty interesting.
Wilder might be able to do something. I don't think if I'm the president of BKFC, I don't think I want a murder on my card. So I don't think I want Deontay Wilder anywhere near BKFC. Shannon Briggs would be fun. Shannon Briggs he's very vocal. He's been calling out people. Obviously, let's go champ. The movement was going on for a while. And I think he's another one that BKFC is kind of built for. He can't really, especially now, but even in his heyday, I mean, he wasn't an elite level fighter. But even at his age right now, I think he could probably, shout out to Bourbon and Boxing. That's a good one. I think he could probably do something competitively inside bare knuckle for sure.
Yeah, especially, I mean, Shannon had he had asthma. I think that's well known.
Yeah, without a doubt.
So,
I mean, David
you give him 2-minute rounds.
Oh,
you give him 2-minute rounds. It's like, let's go. I mean, come on. We saw that video. What was it last week when him and Tyson in Brooklyn acted like they were gonna throw down, bro? You see those guys on the street bare knuckle? Nah, you ain't gonna want to see Tyson or Shannon Briggs across from you. So
not at all. And Shannon, I mean, he's in great shape. And look, if it came down to it, I'm pretty sure both of those dudes would be willing to have thrown down right then and there too.
It gets man. Every time Mike is around, and kind of Shannon, right? Because there's that competitive, and even like kind of when they lock each other and pick each other up. Like, hold on, are you trying to kind of show you're the big dog by like? I'm like, man, is something really gonna pop off?
Right.
So
because Mike's unpredictable. He's definitely unpredictable. Speaking of Mike, the news just announced today, Mike Tyson, Jake Paul is now elevated. It's no longer an exhibition. It is a full-blown professional fight. This fight is going to be on the record. Mike Tyson is officially out of retirement. Even the Roy Jones fight was not on it. I'm going to look at Mike Tyson's box rec right now. I don't even think the Roy Jones fight was on there. This fight was Jake Paul. Yeah. I'm looking at box rec right now. Mike Tyson's last fight, Kevin McBride, 2005. We know the Roy Jones fight happened, but it already shows it right here. His next fight, Jake Paul, July 20th. I'm excited, man. A lot of people are trashing it, talking crap. Why is this happening? I'm excited. Maybe it's
Hey, let me throw some shots at Nibs real quick. Nibs saying, "Oh, he don't care about that fight." Nibs, stop lying, bro. Who you lying to? He's saying he's more excited for Katie Taylor, Amanda Serrano. Nibs, shut up, bro. Come on, man. You got Jake Paul, Mike Tyson in the ring. You gotta tell me you rather see Katie Taylor, Amanda Serrano? Come on, man.
I can't say I don't disagree with you there. If I had to watch
now, does this fight mean anything? No, but come on, it's a car crash, a train crash, whatever.
Train wreck.
Yeah, train wreck. You gotta see this, right? And it kind of, for me, Mike Tyson's that guy. Mike Tyson's the baddest man on the planet. Probably always will be, right? And I don't know if he beats Jake Paul. Not because I'm saying Jake Paul's good, but Mike Tyson's twice his age. So I'm like, come on, man. Mike Tyson better not be slept. I really hope Mike Tyson doesn't get slept. But the fan in me still says, I remember playing Mike Tyson's Punch Out, right? And Mike Tyson can't be beat. That guy could land a punch on Jake Paul and put him to sleep. Regardless, bro, I'm watching, and I know everybody else can be watching.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm watching. Jake Paul's got some serious power. There's no lie, and there's no denying that. Does he have power against the heavyweight? Who knows? But against an older heavyweight like Mike,
a 60-year-old man, like that's kind of where I'm like, man, like I don't want to get too into it because there's a lot. If Mike Tyson was the same age, come on, this would be ridiculous talk. But Mike Tyson's age obviously plays into it. And Bourbon, I'm not saying that. I mean, that's going to be a good fight. I'm not saying I don't want to see it. I'm just saying Nibs from Catch and Counter is saying, "Oh, he don't even care about this fight," and I'm saying, "No, I'm calling cap."
Yeah, I think we all care about this, and I mean, even had one of my homeboys hit me up. He's like, "Are you gonna go to Texas for that one?" I'm like, honestly, I really probably should because I know as I was younger, I got to watch Mike Tyson on TV, but I've never been to a Mike Tyson fight live. I've met him in person plenty of times. I've seen him plenty of times. Never been to a Mike Tyson fight live. This is my last chance to actually say that I've been to a Mike Tyson fight live in person, and I'm on the fence. It's definitely one of those things that I'm like, should I go? Should I not? And it's in Dallas. That little area is super cool. Me and Bean actually went out there for a WrestleMania 32, and that little area, it's really cool, especially for an event like this, boxing and WWE, similar events.
Yeah, I mean, bro, just I don't know. Hey, let me know if you go, because just imagine you're sitting there. I still hope Mike comes out to DMX. I don't know, right? Like,
Bro,
what's
yeah.
Mike gonna come out to? But just that Mike Tyson walkout, bro.
Yes.
I honestly don't even remember when he walked out against Roy. I should probably look that up.
It was some EDM Mike
Was it?
Tyson like it was an original song, and I was definitely upset over that. And that's when I knew he wasn't going to take Roy out. But if Mike walks to the ring and you hear either DMX or Tupac,
Your Tupac, yeah.
that's it. That's it, Jake.
Bro,
That is it, Jake Paul.
just being in the arena, the stadium, whatever. I guess it's a stadium. Bro, that alone might make it worth the price of admission.
Right. The energy alone is going to be through the roof in that place. And yeah, that's definitely.
And that's what I'm saying, bro. Like, that brings the Mike fan and then you think, man, he's the underdog because he's fighting this 30-year-old whatever kid, whatever you want to say, and it's like, come on, Mike, like, do it for us, right? Like, I think everybody's gonna be rooting for Mike.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. I can't wait. I'm excited for it. Whether I'm in the AT&T Stadium or I'm just watching at home, I will definitely buy that pay-per-view. Oh, actually, it's free on Netflix.
I don't know. Is it? I know Netflix is behind it. Is it just? I haven't seen how they've done their live presentations yet.
This might be their first one, and with that, right at the same time, right on cue, Bourbon and Boxing asked the question: "What are your thoughts on Netflix hosting? Is it a one and done?" I don't think it's a one and done. Netflix just signed a huge deal with WWE to have Monday Night Raw. If you're a wrestling fan or even just an entertainment fan, WWE has been on the USA Network or just on cable in general, right? For 25, 30 years, however long the show's been going. Netflix picked it up. So starting in October, WWE Monday Night Raw is no longer going to be on cable. It's going to be streamed exclusively on Netflix, commercial free, all of that stuff. Huge deal, which live as well. So that tells me that they're putting money into live sports. So with this Jake Paul Mike Tyson fight, I don't think this is a one and done. I think this is the beginning. You have their competitor, Amazon Prime, who's into the game now as well. You've got DAZN. I mean, really, all of these other places are competitors. Netflix is entering the live streaming game, and I think this is just the beginning. I don't think it's a one and done. So,
I mean, and I guess you would think the one and done depends on, does it bring the numbers they want to see, right? It's all a numbers game. It's all boils down to money. I can't see how this doesn't bring everybody. Like, right. I think this might be one of the most watched events.
Oh, yeah, without a doubt. And the fact that it's just going to be free on Netflix, you don't have to pay for the pay-per-view. You don't have to worry about people illegally streaming it, although I'm pretty sure there's some people out there who don't have a Netflix account who are still going to do that.
Or bro, they might just buy Netflix. Hey, like, Netflix has everything. I mean, I'm not doing a Netflix ad, but hey, let me pay for Netflix for the month because there's some movies and stuff I want to watch, and I get to watch this.
Exactly.
I think those numbers are gonna be crazy, and if those numbers are crazy, then you got to see more, right?
Without a doubt. And I think if it breaks the 2 million mark, you got to really. It's not a pay-per-view in that sense, but when you think about like highest rated boxing events, pay-per-view, or just regular platform network, this is going to be one of the biggest ones of all time, without a doubt. Everybody's going to be tuned. I think the entire world is going to be tuned in for this one. This is going to be a huge event.
Well, you have the hardcore boxing fans like my boy Nibs catching counter. They get to watch Serrano Taylor 2. But even that appeals worldwide, right? Because Taylor is, Irish. Serrano's Puerto Rican. Hardcore, obviously, in women's boxing, it's, one of the biggest, best fights that can be made. So you have that. And then you have, what we would say, the gimmick or whatever but it's Jake Paul and it's Mike Tyson. And Mike Tyson in his prime was Mike Tyson, right? Like there were 3 Mikes, right? Jackson, Jordan, Tyson. And we're gonna tune in every time. And I hope Mike can pull it off. I'd be really sad if Mike gets slept, which I think is like a real possibility, bro. Not because Jake Paul's so good, but just because Mike Tyson's 60 years old. But you look at Mike, you look at a Mike interview, and I feel like it kind of brings you back. At least for me, it brings you back to like when Mike was the guy. I think he's always been the baddest man on the planet, and it's just something I want to see.
Yeah, exactly. It's and then just what Bean said here, this fight will have all ages watching this fight. I mean, I can ask my son right now, son, do you know who Devin Haney is? Do you know who Ryan Garcia is? Maybe he knows who Ryan Garcia is. This is a TikTok era. Son's a teenager. Some of these guys you don't know. Do you know who Floyd Mayweather is? I have to tell him who Floyd was. I have to educate him. I show him about different fighters. He's not going to know who a lot of these guys are. Mike Tyson has not fought since he's been alive, but he knows who Mike Tyson is. And this is definitely going to be in all ages. Like everybody's going to be tuned and locked in. I've had people, friends that hit me up from time to time that they don't watch boxing, but if there's something big out there, they'll hit me up because they know I'm their go-to guy for that type of stuff. I've got more messages about Jake Paul and Mike Tyson over the past month than any other fight that has happened. Nobody's hit me up about Ryan and Devin. Nobody's hit me up about any other card other than this one right here. There's a lot of interest already.
Yeah.
And
I will say this, like it's been sanctioned as a pro fight, but it still is 2 minutes, which I feel like that
favors Mike.
Favors Mike, bro. He can do 2 minutes, right? Or I hope. And 14-ounce gloves. Bro, put on some 14-ounce gloves. If you never boxed, put on some 14-ounce gloves or let someone else put on 14-ounce gloves and hit you. That's going to hurt. You know what I mean? Like people might, those are big gloves or whatever. No, you get hit by 14-ounce gloves, you're still going to feel that. So, you would think, right? And I'm ready to get in fan mode. All Mike has to do is land one. We'll see, bro. I'll be tuned in. I'm looking forward to it, bro. This summer, it's gonna be a hot summer, bro, because we're getting crazy fights.
Great, yes. This summer is amazing. I mean, Top Rank just dropped their May, whatever they want to call it, but Top Rank is putting out some bangers throughout May too. June 29th out here in Arizona, we've got Estrada and Bam Rodriguez. That one's going to be a banger, man. Everybody, the moment that was announced, everybody's going crazy over it. I mean, there's going to be some great fights. And the thing about this summer that I'm excited about is it's going to be a lot of action-packed fights, and I don't think we're going to get the big names per se. I mean, other than Tyson Fury and Usyk at the end of May. But I think the big names are going to kick back into gear around September once summer's kind of winding down. And we're going to have action-packed fights throughout the entire summer. This is going to be if you're a boxing fan, if you're a new boxing fan, this is a perfect time for you to have gotten into the sport because what better way? And I know for a fact all of these fights are going to deliver without a doubt. Yeah,
I mean, what did we see just before we came on? I couldn't even understand it, bro. I was reading it and I was like, what? Oh, yeah. But the Saudi, His Excellency, whatever they call him, has said, Jared Crybaby Anderson is going to fight Deontay Wilder if Deontay Wilder gets past Zhang, right? Like, just the idea that that's happening. Now, I don't know if that's going to happen because, Wilder Zhang takes place, June 1st?
Yes.
And they're saying, all right, Wilder Crybaby August 3rd. Now, that might be too short. I don't know, but just the idea that can happen and that's on an undercard.
I know.
Bro, we're in some good times. Already.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. It's exciting. And the fact that, His Excellency is putting together this card and he's working with Top Rank and PBC. Like he's making these fights are reality. Like that guy's he is Your Excellency without a doubt. We've got Inoue and Luis Neri, which shout out to there's a local fighter out here, Jordan Martinez. He's been on our platform before. You can go to our channel and watch one of his fights against Jose Ramirez. A good action-packed fighter. He helped Luis Neri prepare for that fight in sparring.
Okay.
And he was telling me the other night, Neri is one hard-hitting motherfucker. His words. He's like, that dude can hit. So I'm looking forward. Inoue is a beast, though. But that's May 6th.
Hey, that's May 6th on a Tuesday at probably 4 a.m. It's like
exactly, and people are going to be tuned in. Tyson Fury and Usyk, you don't get bigger than the undisputed heavyweight championship of the world, May 18th.
And then the implications from that fight, right?
Right.
Like if Fury wins, I think we get Fury. Well, I guess they got a rematch. I take a step back. I think both sides have a rematch clause, but there's so many things that are going to happen with these fights. And being right there, I thought Ruiz was fighting Ruiz is fighting Big Baby Miller.
So he's fighting Big Baby Miller, not Crybaby Anderson.
Crybaby Anderson was seen crying in the ring with Roy Jones. He doesn't know if he likes boxing or whatever. He's the undefeated top ranked prospect.
I want to see them two fight. Honestly,
they should, right?
Fight for the name. I mean,
I don't even want to give Jarrell Miller too much credit because that whole steroids thing, which is crazy. But yeah,
and is Eddie Hearn's taking over? Eddie Hearn, bro. I vote Eddie Hearn to be the next James Bond. Like this dude is legitimately taking over. He is that dude. And I think he is taking over for the most part, and he's gaining a lot of respect and admiration. There was a lot of, it was a while he was just catering to the European crowd, the Euro bums, as you would always say. He was catering to that crowd, but he's branching out to the U.S. now and really taking over. And Oscar De La Hoya even mentioned, I'm not going to let somebody come to my country and take over my sport. I don't know if he was talking about Eddie Hearn or if he was talking about His Excellency. Who he was talking about exactly, but Eddie Hearn is without a doubt becoming that dude right now.
Yeah, and yeah, who is he talking about? I don't know because Virgil Ortiz is on that card. So, I mean, who is he talking about? I don't know. I don't think it matters. As for Eddie Hearn, bro, I like Eddie Hearn, and I don't know. Maybe he's just sold himself that way, but I really feel like he's a fan and giving us what we want because that's also what he wants.
Exactly.
And I kind of, if I think about it, he had Canelo Alvarez, right? Like he promoted Canelo, and then Canelo went and did his own thing with PBC, and you still see Eddie Hearn kind of supporting him, like, hey, that's my friend, like not mad at it. Whereas Oscar, you would see Oscar didn't know to get his hate on a little bit, right?
Yeah,
and I really feel, and maybe it's just a good salesman job, but I really feel like Eddie Hearn's is a fan of the sport and wants to see fights that he wants to see, which as fans are what we want to see. So
yeah,
if that's taking over, man, I hope Eddie Hearn does take over.
Yeah, I agree. And Eddie Hearn is, I'm a big fan of guys who can cut a promo. And when you give Eddie Hearn the microphone, when it comes to promoters, to me, I mean, he's better than Don King. He's better than Bob Arum. He's better than De La Hoya. He knows how to talk. You give him the mic, and he's gonna do his.
And he puts his guys up, man. Right? Like we have this 5 versus 5. Like, what other promoters are doing that? Right? Like so. Shout out to I think it's Eddie Hearn and Frank Warren, maybe. But putting their guys might lose.
Right.
So, you don't see that. And just for a promoter to put their fighters in a fight that they might lose, like, bro, it's sad because that's part of the sport, but we gotta respect it. And yeah.
Yeah, it's exciting, man. I mean, the other, circling back to, Jake Paul and Mike Tyson, Jake Paul has worked with Eddie Hearn before, and he's going to be working with him on this card too. But he's another one who's really getting his name out there. I mean, this move with Netflix is huge. So far, the only fights that are on that card is, Mike Tyson, Jake Paul, and Katie Taylor, Amanda Serrano. Curious to see how else they stack that card. And
I would say, like, for Jake Paul as a promoter, right? And I don't know the negotiating deals or whatever, but once someone lands that big fight, right? They had Jake Paul, Mike Tyson. Come on, man. You know how all these other promoters would play it. They put their fighters in a showcase bout. That's just the way it is, right? Like, look at this fight, the Jose Ramirez fight, right? They were in Fresno. And, they put Virgil Ortiz on the undercard. Cool, that's a cool name. In a fight that he wasn't ever going to lose, right? Yeah. Like, we weren't getting good fights on that card. We were getting names or whatever. And so for Jake Paul to have this fight, Mike Tyson and him, everybody's going to watch just for that. And for him still to put Amanda Serrano and Katie Taylor on that, man, that's got to be applauded.
Absolutely. And that's the thing is Jake Paul is also a big fan of the sport too. So when you have promoters that are also fans of the sport, you're ultimately going to win, no matter what. And I'm looking forward to it. And the thing with Jake Paul that I really like is he's not tight with the paycheck. He's paying these fighters what they deserve. He's giving them the money. Even with Katie Taylor, Amanda Serrano's last fight, when she had to pull out at the last minute, he made sure her opponent was paid in full, offered full refunds for everybody there. And that's kind of unheard of. There was one fight that didn't happen, which is the main event. Everybody still got refunded. Everybody still got paid for the night too. Like, you got to respect that. People are hating on the Paul brothers for whatever reason. Look deep and see where that hate is coming from, because if you're a fan, it shouldn't be coming from a fan standpoint. You should be respecting and be excited with your girlfriend.
Yeah, you should be able to step back and look at the bigger picture, right?
Yeah.
Like if you're like, oh, I hate him. Maybe that's what they want you to do, right? Maybe they're in that heel roll. But if you should be able to step back and see the bigger picture. Yo, people are getting paid. We're getting these fights. How can you be mad at that?
Yeah, no, without a doubt, man. It's exciting. As a boxing fan, again, you cannot help but be excited about everything that's on the horizon right now. And again, with Eddie Hearn and Jake Paul in the game, we've mentioned it many times on the show. Top Rank is great at matchmaking. Their cards, they're always going to be competitive, but at the same time, you know what to expect. You're going to see, Henry LeBron. You're going to see Xander Zayas. You're going to see Abdullah Mason. You're going to see one of the Vargas. You're going to.
We're talking about.
Yeah, you're going to see all these same guys on the Top Rank cards.
Rotated. Oh, you're talking Top Rank specific.
Yeah.
My bad.
Jarrell
Vargas.
Miller. Anderson, not Miller. You're going to see Anderson. You're going to see.
The Vargas.
Torres. Yeah, the Vargas brothers. You're going to see all the same guys rotated over and over and over. And some of them, I'm really excited about. Bruce Carrington, a friend of the program. I'm excited to see him every time out. Yeah. For what it's worth, I am excited to see all these guys. Richard Torres, Xander Zayas, all that. But it's the same thing over and over. And they're in winnable fights every time. They're matched very well, but they're still going to win these fights. It's rare that you see an upset on a Top Rank card. So to see these other new guys and they're kind of changing the game and forcing these other promoters to really probably take a step back, like, hey, we need to do something different. We need to change up the pace because these guys have come in and really changed it up, changed the direction. Not only that, the pre-fight promotion. Look what Eddie Hearn is doing. These are movies. This is cinema that he's putting out to us, man.
Yeah. And hey, let's go back to His Excellency, right? Like, maybe people don't like the Saudi money, but he has the money and he knows because he's a fan of the sport. And I think that's what makes all the difference. He's a fan of the sport. He wants fights that he wants to see. He's not worried about building someone up.
Right.
Like, no, he wants to see fights he wants to see. Like, I don't care if, he wants to take Richard Torres to 20-0. I don't think he cares about that. I don't think. And I felt bad, man. We always throw Richard Torres under the Richard Torres, start fighting some live bodies, bro, and we'll leave you alone. Like, we think you're super talented. You're an Olympian. You shouldn't be fighting the guys you're fighting. But anyways, you know what I mean? Like, he's not trying to build fighters up. He's trying to see fights that he wants to see. And, he has the money, I guess, to make that happen. So I think it's a good thing in boxing. Like, let's keep him around.
Absolutely. Without a doubt. Let's protect His Excellency at all costs.
But let Floyd come home, man. Let Floyd come home.
Yeah, we need him. Floyd is without a doubt. I mean, arguably up for debate, one of the greatest American fighters of all time. So let him come back where he needs to be.
Yeah, and then, I mean, that's Tank Davis saying Floyd owes certain people money. It's probably not even him. I'm just talking, but Tank. I guess the backstory, Tank says Floyd is over in Dubai currently because he can't come home because he owes people money. So I'm just throwing jokes, allegedly, all that.
And then, of course, Floyd, taking shots back, saying, there's some sugar in his tank.
It's a good little bar. That was a bar.
Yeah, that was a bar. Definitely good wordplay. That's building up some nice heat right there between the two of them. I mean, it's
Tank Floyd Mayweather right now, 147. Who is?
Even with his age, let's say, literally right now, even with Floyd at his age, I'm still picking Floyd over Tank.
Really?
Yeah, I'm still picking Floyd because Tank's biggest, obviously, his biggest asset is his power. He does have a underrated ring IQ, I think, but I still think Floyd is just levels above Tank Davis. And even right now at his age, handicap him down and he still beats Tank, in my opinion.
I don't want to see it, bro. I don't want Floyd to have to do that, but it just, when you hear all these stories and he owes him money and he can't come home, I'm like, man, I'm sure they could. I'm sure some money could get made if you make those two fights. So.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. And with Floyd, there's the whole thing with, he leaked the footage, he told Ryan to come in overweight, which he's confirmed. Floyd's been very active on social media these days, the Bill Haney stuff.
Because boxing's in the spotlight, bro. This has always been my complaint with Floyd, bro. Like, Floyd loves the attention. Does he deserve it? Probably, right? Like, let's say he's arguably the best ever. But when there's attention and there's cameras and there's worldwide media, Floyd will make himself seen.
Oh, yeah.
Always.
Without a doubt. And that's, the whole Bill Haney argument. I was waiting for Bill Haney to break his silence, but, he finally did. And I seen he put out a video saying, Devin Haney's going to take a break and come back stronger because that's what they do. Before, well, it was, that's what we do. We win. We don't lose. That's what it was then, Bill. And now Devin's lost. So now what we do is we lose and come back. Like, you gotta change your shtick, man. You gotta get a new promo. Like, you gotta cut a different kind of promo. I think Floyd was killing him on that little IG live that they had.
I mean, come on, man. That's Floyd's MO, right? Like, he doesn't want to see anybody compared to him. And if someone is compared to him, Floyd has a reason why they're not him. So as soon as Devin lost, I'm sure Floyd was ready. Floyd, that was going to happen, man.
Oh, yeah, without a doubt. Floyd versus Bill Haney. That's a fight I want to see.
Street rules, right? Because
yeah, that's what Bill was talking about the entire time. Street stuff over and over.
But yeah, and I mean that looked a little corny, right? Like, Bill's like, I'm undefeated in the streets or whatever, and Floyd's like, I don't want to be in the streets, which like, good on you, Floyd. Like, hey, Floyd won that, but there should be no reason for Floyd going on live talking about Devin Haney,
right?
Besides, he was kind of gloating. Like, it was his opportunity to gloat. So
absolutely, yeah.
I think if Devin Haney wins that fight, Floyd's not talking about Devin Haney.
Yeah. Now we've lollygagged for like an hour. the card this weekend, the preview, which is what we're supposed to be breaking down. I'm going to run down the undercard really quickly because something stood out to me on this card that it was a name that stood out to me that I was like, whoa, it's not the same guy, but Vito Milanecki Jr. is fighting Ronald Cruz. I know we were talking about Ronald Cruz, Easton, Pennsylvania. It's not the same Ronald Cruz.
That's not the Easton, Pennsylvania Ronald Easy to Lose Cruz.
No, it's not the same.
Okay.
It's not the same. But Vito Milanecki on the undercard. William Skull, he's on the undercard, undefeated, 21-0. He actually is in tough. He's fighting Sean Hempel, who is he's a tough fighter, man. 16-1. Super middleweight division. That's going to be a decent fight. Mario Barrios is fighting Fabian Maidana for the WBC interim championship. Stanionis fighting for the WBA welterweight championship against Gabriel Maestre. And Brandon Figueroa, Jesse Magdaleno. Now that's a name that's up there with the real Ronald Cruz that we're talking about. I don't know why Brandon is taking that fight. I guess it's a showcase for Brandon, but he's definitely above fighting Jesse Magdaleno at this time, without a doubt. My boy Jesus Ramos is going to be on there. He'll actually be on for you guys tuning in, watching this live stream, or if you're going to watch the replay at another time. I know this is late.
Jesus Ramos is on the card?
Yeah, Jesus Ramos was going to be on the show here tonight. He's leaving to Vegas tomorrow, so he couldn't make it to the show tonight. But Jesus Ramos will be on the Boxing Shop next week. I was talking to him over the weekend. He's excited. He's looking forward to it. It was a fight that just came together kind of quickly and randomly. He did kind of know that he was scheduled to fight, so he was training and preparing. He didn't have an opponent. They finally got something secured recently, and so yeah, Jesus Ramos will be on there. You know, his comeback fight after taking the loss from Erickson Lubin, very much disputed loss from a lot of people. So again, tune in next week. Jesus Ramos will be here. Now the main event. Well, before we go to the main event, what are your thoughts on some of those, especially the Brandon Figueroa, Jesse Magdaleno? What is your thought on that?
I mean, I guess we're getting a showcase for Brandon Figueroa, right? I said last week, if the Virgil Ortiz fight goes more than 3 rounds, then we're looking at Virgil kind of crazy. Brandon Figueroa, like, he's not a one-punch knockout, but if this goes more than 6 rounds, 6.5, come on, Figs. Like, he's above Magdaleno. Without
a doubt. And looking at Magdaleno's record, the last time he's had a win was May 21st, 2022, in an 8-round fight. He fought once since then, which was April 8th, 2023, and he lost the 12-round decision, which was a lopsided 12-round decision, mind you. Brandon Figueroa definitely is above fighting Jesse Magdaleno, so not sure how.
Well, I mean, if this is a stay busy type fight, I'm never mad at a stay busy fight. But this fight tells me nothing about Brandon Figueroa, right?
Right.
Like, hey, go in there and create a highlight because, you know, treat a bum like a bum. You know, shout out to Magdaleno. I'm sure he's getting a payday. At one time, they thought that those brothers were next. They obviously weren't. And, you know, Figueroa probably has a chance to end that. And he should. He should end it quick, bro. Even his style isn't really, like I said, a one-punch knockout. But he shouldn't go 6 rounds. Magdaleno should not be able to go 6 rounds with Figueroa if Figueroa is who I think he is.
I think this is going to be reminiscent to when Diego Magdaleno fought Teofimo Lopez, and Teo just gave a spectacular.
So he's going to be rolling around on the ground all crazy?
Basically, yeah. Or when Isaac Cruz fought Diego Magdaleno, just bodied him. Yeah. One of those kind of wins. Now, the Jesus Ramos fight, I want to touch on too. Jesus, we know what he brings to the table. You know, I was in his camp with him when he was training for Lubin. Bro, the guy, he is a beast. You know, watching him train as hard as he trains, as hard as he hits, you know, he's a beast. And the fighter that he's fighting this weekend is Johan Gonzalez out of Venezuela. If anybody's a boxing fan, you know these South American fighters, they're, especially with this guy, his record is he's 34-2 with 33 knockouts. you already know these South American fighters, they come and they are just no nonsense. They're all knockouts. Looking at his record, his last like handful of fights, second round knockout, first round knockout, fifth round knockout, first round knockout, first round knockout. So Jesus Ramos is going to be in a bit of a banger against Johan Gonzalez. And again, these South American fighters, he's from Venezuela. These dudes are no pushover, man. They're no joke at all. That's gonna be a sleeper fight right there.
Shout out Ricardo Torres.
Yeah.
Shout out to the Matisse. Shout out to every South American fighter, Mexican fighter that has a good record but not known and gets called over to the UK to fight their top prospect and they end up smoking them. Yeah, man. But hey, let's not get it twisted, right? Like, if Jesus Ramos gets that dub against Erickson Lubin, which he could have, right? Like, it's arguable. Jesus Ramos would be in a much bigger fight. You know, he probably would have got that Fundora fight, or if not something bigger. So I think Jesus Ramos is that talent level. He's at the very top. Like, bro, what did he do to Joey Spencer, right?
Yeah.
So to see him come back, I'm sure he's not worried about who he's fighting because he probably thinks he's the best 154-pounder in the world, which he might be. Like it's that close. So yeah, I am interested in watching that fight for sure.
Yeah, it's gonna be a fun one, man. Again, these South American fighters, they come to fight, they come to brawl.
Hey,
they are they're no nonsense, without a doubt. So that's gonna be a fun fight. I don't know what placement that's gonna have on the card. Again, we got Stanionis, Mario Barrios, Brandon Figueroa, and Canelo Alvarez. Who's
Stanionis is fighting though? He's not fighting Mario Barrios.
No. He's fighting Gabriel Maestre, who's 6-0-1 with 5 knockouts.
That's another one, man. Like those fights are kind of sleepers. Like, I feel like you don't really know what you're getting.
Right. And he's another one. He's from Venezuela too. So he's another one, 6 wins, 5 knockouts. Again, looking at his record, second round knockout, third round knockout, fourth round knockout, second. I mean, these guys from South America, we talk about the Cuban fighters all the time. They're slick boxers. We know what to expect when you see a Cuban fighter in the ring. Although, Tellez kind of said last weekend, I'm a Cuban that's not going to run. I'm here to punch. But the common boxing fan understands when they see a Cuban in there, they're going to see a well-polished boxer, especially with their amateur system that they have. So when you hear about a South American fighter, especially these Venezuelan guys, Ricardo Mayorga is another one of those guys, South American. These guys, power is their thing. You know what I mean? They come out.
They pretty much had a good record, and some promoter was like, "Oh, hey, with that record, I could put you on a big platform against my guy."
Right.
Not really knowing what you're getting, and we've seen it. Ricardo Mayorga. All those guys, Ricardo Torres.
Yeah, and Ricardo Torres.
Maidana, and now we got Fabian Maidana, his brother. Good record, Argentina, South American, like we just said, against Mario Barrios. So, like, who should win? You would think, oh, Mario Barrios is more polished, all this, but you really don't know what you're going to get.
Yeah, exactly. And it's their record is deceiving too. I mean, it's not necessarily deceiving, but you see a guy who's 15-0 with 13 knockouts, something like that, right? And you're like, my fighter's he's got enough skill to make it happen. There's a guy that I'm sure some diehard fans will remember the name Epifanio Mendoza, however you want to pronounce it. There was a prospect out of Brooklyn, Tacumbo Olajide. Back in the day, he was on the fast track to success. They were building him up, smooth boxer. They threw him in there with Mendoza, and Mendoza just spoiled that immediately in the first round. Ricardo Torres almost did the same thing. Almost spoiled Miguel Cotto's freight train early. He had him hurt badly.
All-time fight. That's an all-time fight right there.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. There was another prospect. I can't remember his name, but Epifanio Mendoza, same thing. I think it was Carlos Negron. He was on his way up to the top too. Look at his record, trying to remember who it was.
Well, shoot, I mean, while you're at it, like look at all those Matchroom cards. We talked about Eddie Hearn.
Yeah,
he brings in, good records from Mexico, from South America over to fight the top UK prospects. And, a lot of times his guys lose.
It's very hard to gauge those guys from the other country, especially down in South America. I mean, these guys are hungry too. Seeing how they train, us out here in America.
This week, bro, last week, Crappy Ramirez, and he fought Jimenez from Costa Rica, small country, good record. Like, hey, okay, hey, we'll take him. Bro, you don't know what you're gonna get.
Exactly, man. And yeah, that's gonna be a fun fight, man. Fun fight card. I mean, we've got these guys are, you think Stanionis is 14-0 fighting a 6-0 fighter for the WBA championship. You don't know what you're gonna get with Gabriel Maestre.
Yeah. Oh, I would think, honestly, and I'm a big Figueroa fan, but like that might be the least fight or like the fight I'm looking least forward to. Like, because come on, I know what I'm getting with Magdaleno.
Right.
So,
well, the main event finally. We've got about 20 minutes left. We can squeeze it in, or however long we want to get into it. I mean, we can go over. It's our own platform. We can do what the hell we want, right? But Canelo and Munguia, obviously you're repping the gear. Canelo, I was looking at the odds earlier. Munguia is plus 475. I'm going to take that bet. Not because I'm like fully confident or I'm rooting for Munguia, kind of am, but how could you turn that down? It's like the Ryan Garcia bet. I wasn't going to turn that down. I should have bet the win instead of the knockout, even though he could have probably had the knockout. But how can you turn that down? Munguia is not a bad fighter. He's undefeated for a reason. He's at the level he is for a reason. And Canelo's he's not on the uphill anymore. He's on the decline a little bit. Does Munguia have enough to give Canelo a test? I think at this point in your career, his career, if you push Canelo to a fight to make him uncomfortable, he's not going to really want to dig deep anymore. He doesn't really have to. He's looking for some easy nights, I think, and Munguia's not going to give him an easy night. And he understands how big this is, how meaningful this win will be for him, and how impactful this loss will be for him too if that happens. So I'm curious to see how it goes. When they first announced this fight, I was like, all right, this is a joke of a fight. We want David Benavidez, we want David Morrell, but in all honesty, it's not a bad fight. And Munguia does have at least a small shot to win. And I'm not gonna completely write him off for this one. I'm gonna throw some money on it too as well because of those odds. What is your take, Ray? I know you're about to bury Munguia for this one.
No, man. Like, hey, obviously, even as a Canelo fan, I wanted to see Canelo David Benavidez. Like, I think there's reasons for him to not take that fight, and I'm not mad about it, right? Like, he could say, "Oh, you can't really say what has he done, but he could say, like, bro, I don't need you," basically, right? So all this talk from Benavidez Sr. and David, Canelo's in a position to be like, bro, I just won't fight you. Like,
right.
What do you like? Stop talking, right? Like, you make him mad, then you're not going to get the fight, whatever. We're still going to watch Canelo. So obviously I wanted to see that fight. I do think Munguia is probably the second or third best fight that can be had, right? Like, you have Morrell, but Munguia, fan base wise and where he stands in the sport, I think Munguia is probably the next best option.
Yeah.
So for the fight,
I will say,
go ahead.
Next best option for competitive fight, but probably first best option for marketable, because I think for the Mexican fight fans on Cinco de Mayo weekend, you can make an argument the Benavidez fight would be bigger, but this is, the story in itself, both actual Mexican fighters from Mexico, this is going to be huge.
Yeah, so, you get a big fight about it. You get Munguia. I think since Munguia has been with Freddie Roach, he's gotten better, or he's just young enough where he's been improving. Like, I don't want to hate on Eric Morales. I think Eric Morales got Munguia to where he's at. But, he goes to Freddie Roach and he gets a big win over Ryder, right? Who Canelo didn't stop and Munguia stopped. So, all right, bro, you earned it. Here you go. You did something Canelo couldn't do. Now you get Canelo. Now, at the end of the day, like I'm rolling with Canelo. I think Munguia can be hurt, and I think Munguia is too slow for what Canelo can do. But I do think this is kind of like hey, Canelo, what do you still have? Because
Right.
Munguia's going to come forward, right? And, you figure that pressure, if it's someone older, maybe that pressure can wear on Canelo, and Canelo is just not up for it anymore. So I think this fight does show us a lot, and maybe it shows Canelo himself, right? I think Benavidez is maybe he's David Benavidez, or David Benavidez might be Jaime Munguia, but a little quicker, right? Because David Benavidez has quick hands, he has the power. I think Munguia is going to be too slow in this fight, and I think Canelo should get rid of him. And like I said, I think this is kind of a litmus test. Hey, Canelo, where are you at? We seen you last against Charlo. So, you were in there against someone quick. Boom, still had defense, can move that. But now against someone, much bigger, what can you do with this? So maybe in my mind, Canelo's, filling out the size, no Diddy. And but should still be able to. Does Canelo still have it? And if he does, then hey, give us that fight in September against Benavidez.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Canelo's an all-time great. There's no doubt about it. We'll see how this fight goes. It's crazy to think that we're only 3 fights removed from his last fight with Golovkin. That seems like so long ago.
Right.
But
like even those guys, right? Like Golovkin, I felt like Golovkin wasn't the quickest. He was slow, but Golovkin had all-time. I'm gonna give him an all-time great chin.
Oh yeah, without a doubt.
And then Canelo's fought the kind of speed guys, right? Like what we thought Charlo. Like Charlo's gonna be quick. I don't think Munguia is quick, or I don't think he has the chin. So I don't think he's going to be able to stand up to what Canelo is handing out. And I kind of hope Canelo just sits down and goes to war with them, because I think he'll be able to, punch inside his punches and get there quicker. And, let's not forget, this is Munguia's first time really under the lights.
Yeah. Without a doubt. And, what's best for boxing, and, if us fans want Canelo and Benavidez or Canelo Morale, we need Canelo to win this fight, and we need him to win it big.
Yeah.
So I do hope Canelo does pull it off and pulls off, because he hasn't had like a spectacular win in a while. Charlo just kind of went into defense mode and run around. And we had Canelo at the end of the fight talking about nobody beats this version of Canelo. I need some water, but I'm gonna drink beer instead.
No, but that's what I'm saying too. Like, hey, this is all. If this is kind of a feel-out fight, like Canelo, I'm not saying Canelo's questioning himself, but if Canelo goes in and gets Munguia out of there, right, without getting touched, and he gets Munguia out there, Canelo's gonna be feeling himself.
Oh yeah,
like Canelo's a cocky dude, right? Like you can see it, and so I think. Post-fight, maybe he calls out David Benavidez. I know Munguia probably thinks I stopped Ryder. Canelo couldn't do that. But, come on. Ryder had fought Canelo. And what happens when you fight Canelo? You get that payday.
Yep.
Right? Come on, man. Ryder reached the pinnacle of what he was going to do. So is it the same? I don't think so. But it's a good fight, because Munguia is a big young kid. He's going to go forward. And if Canelo isn't Canelo anymore, we could get a entertaining, great fight.
And if Canelo's not Canelo anymore, what better way to pass the torch than to another young Mexican fighter on Cinco de Mayo weekend. I mean,
Yeah.
everything about it is like a layup. I'm looking forward to seeing what we have.
But
What Canelo has left against a young fighter too.
I got a question for Bourbon and boxing. He says Benavidez won't come back to 168. Bro, you don't think that Canelo money is going to bring him back to 168? Like I know Benavidez is going to go up and fight, Canelo's sparring partner in the Nail. And it's probably by design, right? Like Eddie Reynoso and Canelo said, hey, they'll give the Nail and then come back down. For that money that fight's going to generate, Canelo Benavidez, I think Benavidez tries to make the weight.
I think so too. There's no way he would not. I did see today David Benavidez said that he's open to fighting David Morrell at 175. After he picked up title there too. So
right,
at least he actually mentioned his name in a.
He had to, bro. He had to. Like, come on, you can't. The dude's at 168, and you're saying, "Oh, nobody wants to fight me at 168." 168. David Morrell's there, so I just think it might be strategy for Canelo to let Benavidez go up, fight someone in their camp at 175, and then say, "Hey, all right, now I'm ready." So right. I mean, if Benavidez, bro, if you're smart, like, you should probably try to stay within that 168 range so you don't completely weigh yourself out of the division. You know what I mean?
And I mean, you got to wonder, is he having trouble making the division? He's never really looked drained at these weigh-ins. So, we'll see if that has anything to do with it. But I think Canelo payday, I mean, for what it's worth, I mean, who wouldn't come down for that? I think Tyson Fury would come down for that.
Yeah, that's life-changing money right there.
Yeah,
but I mean, as for this fight Saturday, I think it's a good fight. I think it's a fight that's going to tell us something, however it goes. Canelo could win the fight and me be like, oh, shoot, Canelo is on the backside of his career. Or Canelo can completely dominate, and I say, oh, all right, he's mid-30s, he still got it. Or, maybe Munguia takes that step. He's been getting better and better and better. Maybe he takes that step and, like you said, takes that torch from Canelo. I don't think Canelo's handing him the torch, but I think Munguia is in a spot where maybe he takes that.
Canelo is going to fight Berlanga before David Benavidez. I mean, it's low-hanging fruit. For anybody, any top guy in that area, you don't even got to be a top guy. Any guy who's really worth something, they're going to take that Edgar Berlanga fight because that's an easy dub for their record for sure.
For sure, yeah. I mean, honestly, if it's Canelo Berlanga on Mexican Independence Day, I'm not mad at it. But you better fight Benavidez in December. Like I'm not waiting till May. I mean, I will because I'm a boxing fan and I'm used to it. But, come on. Like, I think boxing fans are going to call Canelo on that. And I think Canelo has an ego and he's cocky and he listens to what people say. Like, you can see him get visibly kind of frustrated when Benavidez is brought up.
Oh, yeah, without a doubt.
And,
he's tired of answering the questions. He's tired of it.
Yeah, and so, I mean, if he's fighting Berlanga, I think he's going to get a lot of heat that he doesn't want. So, I mean, we'll see. I mean, Canelo has fought the best, right? Yeah. Like, you can't be mad at his opponents. You name them, he's fought them. So I think him and Benavidez fight eventually if he gets past this.
Now, do you think? Yeah, I know his record is 62-2. Not so many guys have that kind of record and are on that level of the sport either.
Yeah.
If Terrence Crawford gets past Israel Madrimov, do you think we get Crawford and Canelo? I think that's a fight that a lot of people have been kind of calling for.
I mean, I think that's a fight that kind of transcends all this. I think if Crawford does win at a higher weight, I think Canelo Crawford is a fight that, hey, all right, we don't get Benavidez, Canelo, but we get this fight. And I think that's a major event. And I think there will be people on the side that say Crawford win. I just saw today, Sean Porter. Was it Sean Porter? No, it was Tim Bradley and James Toney. They were talking about how Crawford knocks out Canelo at any weight. So I think that fight has enough money behind it and enough intrigue that kind of would, bypass any of the fights that we want to see for Canelo.
Yeah, I don't think Crawford KOs Canelo at any weight. I'm not saying that I don't think Crawford KOs Canelo at all. But when we talk about all-time great chins, we did mention Triple G. Canelo's got himself a solid chin too.
Yeah.
He's been in there with some real heavy hitters as well.
Yeah, he's been there with Kovalev, Triple G,
Cotto,
Mosley.
Yeah, he's solid, man. He's definitely solid.
He's gonna be in there with Munguia, bro. Like, look at Munguia's knockout KO ratio. Like I said, bro. I don't mean to be overlooking Munguia. Like you said, this might be a fight that Munguia takes that torch.
Right.
I think we learn a lot from this fight, and it's still kind of unsure. It's not one of those fights where we know what's going to happen.
Looking forward to it, man. It's going to be fun. Cinco de Mayo weekend. Fight week is always exciting during this week. And it's my birthday week, too, so I always love it because I always know it's going to be a fun boxing weekend for my birthday weekend, too. So, looking forward to this weekend.
Who you got this weekend then?
I'm going to bet, obviously, as I mentioned, I'm going to bet on Munguia because why wouldn't you? Plus 425. With those numbers, you have to go with that. And my heart is definitely going to stick with Canelo, without a doubt. Granted, I am putting money on Munguia, but that's because, why wouldn't you? But I do think and I do want Canelo to win because I want that Benavidez fight.
If you want to put shots on them, bro, I'm open to it. We got some.
And by the way, I'm like 2.5 beers in. I think I'm paid up. These aren't shots, but I mean.
Yeah, you're good. You're good. Shout out Crappy Ramirez.
Yeah, I know. Thanks to Scrappy Ramirez, I will raise some shots. That's what we're doing here. I'm not gonna. Let me see. Let me look at this card. Let's make it interesting. We'll go through the card real quick and see if there's any fights worth betting on. I'm not betting shots against Canelo in this one. I'm not going to do that. Brandon Figueroa, Jesse Magdaleno. I say first round. Let's bet on that one. I say first.
I'm not going to take that. Brandon kind of breaks you down.
Mario Barrios and Maidana. That's actually a decent fight right there.
A decent fight.
That's probably the most even one. Stanionis and Maestre. We don't know what on paper, Maestre looks solid. The South American power. Jesus Ramos and Johan Gonzalez, same thing. I'm not betting against any of the A-side guys, but I will definitely pick let's go 3 rounds above or below for Brandon Figueroa and Jesse Magdaleno, because I think we can all agree that that's going to be a knockout.
Give me 4. Give me under 4, and I'll take Figs.
All right, under 4. I'm going to definitely take. Well, you said you're going to take him under 4?
Yeah, 3.5.
I'm taking him in the first round, bro.
I'll go over 1. I think it goes over 1.
All right, bet. We'll do that right there.
One shot. All right.
How many shots we doing on that?
We'll do 1. That's a crazy bet. 1 round.
That is a crazy bet. 1 shot. I'm going first round because I think Brandon is going to go in there and try to showcase and get Magdaleno out of there. And I think he can, too. Yeah. It's definitely doable. And then
and I'm sure we'll come up with more on as it gets closer. I want to shout out PYP Boxing.
Yeah, definitely. Shout out to you, man.
Yeah. He says Canelo versus Munguia better than Benavidez. It could be, man. Like, it's a good fight. Munguia is still on the rise, right? Like, if Munguia wins, Munguia Benavidez is a crazy fight. So, I mean, we could get a really good fight. I think we expect it. Let's see where Canelo's at. Let's see what Munguia's at. And, we got to love it.
What about Crawford versus Carlos Adames or Janibek?
Hey, man. I would love to see Crawford fight. I think Crawford's at a point in his career, which I think he's made it known. If it's not for big money, it's not for him. And I don't know if those guys. I think he'd probably push for a Canelo fight before those.
Yeah, and I'm with PYP on this one too. I think Janibek is a little too big for Crawford for him to want to take that risk.
No, but I mean, if Crawford wants to fight Canelo, like, how can you say it's too big?
Well, too big with nothing to offer, because outside of hardcore fans, who is Janibek? You know what I mean? It's not going to do anything for him, but beating Canelo will. Losing to Canelo still is going to raise his stock. If he loses to Janibek, the general consensus is going to say he fought some bum at middleweight and lost. You know what I mean?
And his excellency being in the fight, having a Crawford fight, I think his kind of priority has been Crawford boots in this, which we want to see.
Yeah, we want that. But Crawford's not going to take that fight. He's already moved up, and I know he's not going to take that fight. 1, 2, 3 shots of bourbon. I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't think I've ever had bourbon in my life. If bourbon and boxing, you make a prediction, we'll make a bet. If you win, I'll find some bourbon somewhere and I'll take a shot of it. I'm usually a clear liquor kind of guy. I've never messed with bourbon before. Crawford versus Joel Diaz, guys. My opinion, Diaz will crack the code. He beat Canelo. I don't know about that. That's a bold prediction there.
I still think Canelo is the guy, bro. I don't think he's past it. I think that Charlo fight showed he's still at the top of the game. So, I really am kind of, as it gets closer, him versus Munguia, I want to see what Canelo brings. I want to see what Munguia brings. And I think, whoever wins that fight, arguably the best at 168. And if Benavidez has a problem with it, then come back down and fight the winner.
Exactly. And that, we were putting a lot of talk and pressure onto Canelo, but we've been asking for Munguia to fight a live body for a while.
Yeah, for sure.
We have been getting it with the Derevyanchenko and the John Ryder fight, but still we're kind of like, we need more. And this is, you can't get any more than Canelo. So I think this is at the end of the day, it's a win-win. We're going to get a lot of answered questions finally, because even if Munguia loses, which we kind of expect him to, we're going to see how he performs. Not every loss is equal. We've talked about that.
Yes.
And, we want to see how he performs. Does he win? Does he lose in a controversial way? Who knows? Curious to see what he has.
I think he, honestly, I guess this is my prediction. I think Munguia is going to be too slow, and I don't think his chin's going to hold up.
Yeah, I think just his come forward style is what's going to be tailor-made for Canelo at the end of the day. I think that's going to be the story. He's going to come forward, and Canelo, that's what he's going to want. And it's going to be a kind of a good performance for him, more of a showcase. Let's bet Canelo takes Berlanga over David Benavidez. Oh, my God, I've had too much beer.
Let's bet Canelo takes Berlanga over David Benavidez in September. If that's the bet, hey, let's bet. I'm going to say Canelo doesn't even mention Berlanga post-fight. If Canelo wins, he won't mention him. If he does mention Berlanga, I'll take 2 shots next week.
There you go. If Canelo mentions Berlanga or Benavidez?
No, if Canelo mentions Berlanga, which I don't want to hear, Berlanga's not on that level. If Canelo mentions Berlanga, I'll take 2 shots.
There you go, bourbon and boxing. There's a bet right there. A bet. I'll throw in a bet. I think it doesn't see the 12-round decision. I think it's going to end in a knockout. Do you want to throw some shots on that, Ray?
No, I'm going the under too, bro. I think Canelo gets him out of there.
All right. Well,
we're on it.
We'll come up with some more bets, and then we'll fill you in. Make sure you guys follow us on IG. We'll be throwing that out there. And I'm take a second to plug the IG. I know you guys love the podcast. You're here late night with us. Appreciate the support as well, and appreciate you with the comments and everything. But we do it all. We're not a one-trick pony. Take a look at our Instagram. I just posted the latest episode of The Fight Life with Solomon Okarwanda. God, again, too many beers. I can't pronounce it. But my latest episode of The Fight Life with Solomon. Great, good episode. It's only it's less than 8 minutes long. It's like 7 minutes and 30 seconds, something like that. Check it out. There's a lot of videos out there, a lot of people creating videos, and don't get me wrong, super talented. The stuff they do is amazing. The sound effects, the video effects that they're doing is amazing. but they're making music videos at the end of the day. I'm bringing you that old school HBO vibe, the vibe that all of us boxing fans fell in love with. Go watch the documentary when we're done here tonight. It's only going to take 8 more minutes out of your time. Take a look at it. It's on our Instagram at ITR Boxing. Good content. And that's the kind of content we're going to continue bringing to you. I'm going to be posting more stuff throughout the week from the fights this past weekend out here in Arizona. We're bringing you good content that you want to see that's relatable. Again, these other videos, a lot of other creators out there, they're bringing you videos, but they're like highlight reel music videos with, some rapper's song over. We're bringing you original content, good content, telling stories that you want to see. Again, just go watch it. Ask for your support. You're watching this channel. Give us another 8 minutes after the show's over. Go to the ITR Boxing on Instagram. Watch the video.
Sure.
Share it with your friends. Comment.
Tell a friend to tell a friend. We're here most Mondays. Felix, if Canelo gets slept, I'm not gonna be here Monday, bro. I'm gonna tell you right now. I'll be in morning.
Sounds like but hey, if Canelo gets slept, then Dakota's MIA right now, so I might be doing this podcast all by myself next week. But if you watch my Jackie Callan interview, I think I could hold my home for over an hour. So, tune in next week. It might be a interesting episode. But hey, outside of that, any other comments you got, Ray?
No, man. Appreciate you guys all, especially for staying with us. Hey, tell a friend to tell a friend. We're here, and let's watch Canelo Munguia, bro. It's one of the biggest weekends of boxing.
There we go. Well, thanks again for y'all tuning in, and we'll see you next Monday. I know I will see you next Monday. This is what you might have to deal with next Monday is just me on the screen. Ray's already dipped out. If Canelo loses, this is what you're going to see next Monday. But again, thanks y'all for tuning in. Appreciate it. And y'all have a good night.